Could the Red Sox be looking at improving the back end of their bullpen? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and I know that the main focus of the Boston Red Sox going into 2024 should be their starting pitching, and rightfully so, right? But that doesn't mean that there aren't other parts of the Red Sox right now that shouldn't be improved as well. And one of those spots is the back end of the bullpen, specifically from the left-hand side. And it looks like the Red Sox may agree with this idea because they have been interested in a Japanese pitcher that could make a lot of sense for the Boston Red Sox. So we're going to do in today's video is break down this elite Japanese closer. We're going to talk about what makes him elite, why he would make sense on the Red Sox, why he might not make sense on the Red Sox. Plus, we're going to look at what it would cost to get this guy here to the Boston Red Sox and what the overall effect on the 2024 Red Sox would be. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so the reason we're talking about this today is because this weekend, Saturday, October 14th, a report came out that the Red Sox were one of 9 teams actively scouting longtime Japanese relief pitcher Yuki Matsui. Now, that's probably not a name a lot of you guys recognize unless you closely follow Japanese baseball, but Matsui's actually been a household name in Japan in terms of baseball for a pretty long period of time. Matsui made his professional debut back in 2014 as a starter, but after just 1 year as a starter, he quickly moved into a bullpen role where his career really started to take off. In those 10 years of professional Japanese baseball, Matsui has racked up a 2.43 ERA with a 1.105 whip, a really impressive 12 even K per 9, and a 4.0 walks per 9. There were also a couple of really impressive statistics that I wanted to highlight with Matsui's career so far. The first being that over his 10 years, he's allowed just 36 home runs. One of those years as a starter as well, right? So 9 seasons as a reliever, 1 season as a starter, a career total of 36 home runs given up. That's in 704 total innings. A really, really insane statistic if you ask me. The other thing I wanted to point out is that his total career save number right now is at 236 saves. He reached 200 saves early this season, and he became the youngest player in Japan history to reach 200 saves. This guy is very, very good at what he does, and this season was one of the best seasons of his career. He finished 2023 with just a 1.57 ERA in 59 games. He had 39 saves, a whip under 1 at .890. He had the lowest walk rate of his career at just 2 per 9 and still maintained his high K rate at 11.3 per 9. What's really interesting about Matsui is that he's not built like a typical major league closer, right? You expect those guys to be a little bit taller, a flamethrower. That's sort of the opposite of who Matsui is. He's about 5'8", and his fastball velocity maxes out around 93 miles an hour. He's not a flamethrower. He's not a big, intimidating presence, but what he is extremely crafty. His off-speed pitches, his forkball, and his slider are considered some of the best off-speed pitches in the entire Japanese league. And again, it has been really effective in his career as a closer, right? He doesn't need that insane velocity to blow by guys to still get swings and misses because he's got that incredible movement on his off-speed pitches. Think along the lines of Koji when he was with the Red Sox, right? He barely hit 90 miles an hour, but was still extremely effective. And what Matsui has been able to do throughout his career is keep hitters off balance, keep them guessing as to what's coming next. He's crafty, right? And with the spin on his off-speed pitches, he's an extremely hard pitcher to pick up on. It's hard for hitters in the batter's box to figure out if what's coming at him is going to stay straight, if it's going to drop down, or if it's going to drop to the left or the right, right? That's just sort of what Matsui has been, and it's been extremely effective if you take a look at his strikeout numbers, right? We talked about his career strikeout rate being at a 12 even. That's a really, really impressive K rate for someone who doesn't even hit 95 miles an hour. On top of that, Matsui's still relatively young because he was able to make his professional Japanese debut back in 2014 at just 18 years old. He's amassed 10 years of experience while still coming over to Major League Baseball at just 28 years old. You could still have a pretty lengthy major league career, especially as a closer who's not blowing 102 miles an hour in Major League Baseball, while also having those 10 years of experience and understanding of the game that he was able to acquire in professional Japanese baseball, which is a huge plus, right? Usually when you get guys over from Japan, they're sitting around 30-ish years old, but they haven't had this long of experience playing professional baseball before, right? Masataka Yoshida, when he came over, he was about 30 years old. He had played 7 seasons of professional Japanese baseball and was 2 years older than what Matsui is. So to me, the age is a really important factor here when you're talking about what the benefit of Yuki Matsui could possibly be for the Boston Red Sox. So if you're looking overall at his positive numbers here and why it could make sense for the Boston Red Sox, it's pretty clear, right? Matsui's a guy with a ton of experience in high leverage situations. He's a guy who's going to be able to get a lot of strikeouts. And if you take a look at the Red Sox 2024 bullpen roster, he fills a really important need. The Red Sox only really have Brendan Bernardino for higher leverage situations from the left-hand side. Yes, you possibly have someone like Walter or Murphy, but right now you don't really know what those guys are going to be, and you also don't know if they're going to be guys who you can rely on in high leverage situations. A majority of your bullpen is right-handed. To get a guy in with a pedigree that Yuki Matsui does could be a really beneficial move. On top of that too, Matsui could be a really important factor beyond 2024. Kenley Jansen's only under contract for 1 more year. He's going into his age 36 seasons. Combine all that with the fact that he dealt with a lot of injuries this season, it's going to be time to get someone else in here to close games for the Red Sox after 2024. If you have the opportunity to take care of that now and have the opportunity to take care of that with someone who's experienced and who has success in professional baseball, it could be the perfect move for the Red Sox. However, there are some concerns surrounding Matsui as well. So let's talk about those and let's talk about what it would cost to get him here. Plus, does any of this make sense for the Red Sox? Honestly, there's not a ton of concern over Matsui, but there are 2 things that stand out that could be an issue if the Red Sox are looking at signing him. The first is, what is his adjustment to Major League Baseball look like? Being a pitcher, the ball is completely different, and that's already something Matsui has struggled with. In the WBC this offseason going into 2023's MLB season, Matsui played for Japan's team. On that team, he was only able to pitch 1 inning, albeit scoreless, because he had a lot of struggles adjusting his grips to a Major League Baseball as opposed to the one he's been using in Japan, which obviously could be a big issue, right? You spent the last 10 years of your life playing with 1 baseball, pitching with 1 baseball, adjusting your grip to 1 baseball. It could be a slight issue for him to come over here and make that adjustment with a Major League Baseball. Now, there is some silver lining with this, and that is that if the Red Sox do sign him this offseason, he'll have much more time to approach and plan and figure out how to make that adjustment before the Major League season starts, right? With the WBC, you had a couple of weeks. With Major League Baseball, you'll have the entire offseason, you'll have the entirety of spring training, you'll have the expertise of legends like Kenley Jansen, who's been doing this a very long time and who will most likely enter the Hall of Fame, right? So while it is a concern and people have definitely been talking about it and should rightfully talk about it, it's something that we will definitely keep an eye on, especially if the Red Sox interest continues to grow in Matsui. I think it's an adjustment that can be made and shouldn't be something to fully deter him. Now, the other concern right now with Matsui is whether or not he's actually going to end up coming over to Major League Baseball. Matsui did elect to become an international free agent, sort of test out and figure out what he wants to do next, making him eligible for Major League Baseball, but he does have the right as an international free agent to sign somewhere else. There's rumors that his old team in Japan, the Golden Eagles, are planning on giving him a lucrative offer to try and make him stay in Japanese baseball. There are a couple other leagues throughout the world that could be interested of him. So there's no confirmation like there was with Masataka Yoshida, who said he was coming to Major League Baseball, that Matsui even ends up in America, right? He could field some offers from, Major League teams, Padres, Yankees. There are a couple of teams that are also mentioned to be in on Matsui, ultimately end up going back to Japan, which is something clearly the Red Sox have no control over. So in my opinion, this is the biggest concern. But if everything does go well and the Red Sox do end up going after Matsui and giving him a contract, right now his projected contract is 4 years, $32 million, which is just $8 million a year. In my opinion, a very affordable contract, especially if you compare that $8 million to some of the other higher leverage left-handed options on the open market going into 2024, like Josh Hader, who's going to command about $17 million a year, according to projections. On the surface right now appears to be a really affordable option. He becomes even more affordable because of that time he spent in Japanese baseball, because he was able to spend 10 years in the league and elected himself to go to the international free agent market. There's no signing fee, there's no posting fee, there's nothing that the Red Sox or any other major league team that signs him would owe to a Japanese team if they signed him. So in my opinion, if we're talking contract wise, he's an extremely affordable option. If we're looking overall, right, concerns, pros, cons, contract, everything all kind of put together, I still think he's a great option. I think the Red Sox rightfully should be very in on what Matsui can offer. I think they've had success with Japanese relievers in the past that are sort of similar to this, and not that everything rides on Koji's success, right? That shouldn't be how you operate a team, but it is something so you can look back on and be like, okay, yes, we've done this before. Can we do it again with this guy as well? I think the experience to me is something I really, really like, right? He's been able to build up a successful professional baseball career. It's not really as much of a risk as it would be for someone who's only a couple years experience in professional baseball, or someone who doesn't have any experience in professional baseball, right? I love that experience. I love his success, and I do think he could be a great option for the Red Sox. And I really like the fact that they're interested in players outside of the starting rotation, because I still think it's really important for the Red Sox to also improve other areas of their team while also improving the biggest need, which is that rotation. So in my opinion, Matsui feels like a really great fit. I hope it's someone that they continue to pursue as we get closer to the offseason, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of Yuki Matsui, the elite Japanese closer that could be on the Red Sox radar going into 2024? Do you like him? Do you not like him? And if you do, what kind of contract would you give him? Let me know all your thoughts on Matsui to the Red Sox in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the subscribe and that like button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end of this video here, you might as well do the like and sub button. It helps these videos out a lot and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.